Happy day, dear children. Welcome to 5th standard English class. Hope you are all good. Today we are going to learn about new lesson. The lesson topic is a fishy story. A fishy story which is written by Jerome K. Jerome. Before move to the lesson, we have to know about the story of a fishy story. A fishy story is actually an entertaining piece that is made to show how locals think they can take advantage of the visitors' ignorance. The story starts off with two characters, the narrator and his friend. Two characters, narrator and his friend, George, entering a parlor to relax. Their co-occupant was an old man, George, and the narrator then noticed a very large trout, so large that the narrator thinks it is a cod. The old man tells them that he was the one who caught it 16 years ago. Then the man leaves after describing how he caught the fish. He then bids them good night. Then the local carriage walks in, climbing. Then he was one who caught the same fish 5 years ago. Now the narrator and the judge are very surprised. He tells them the story and leaves. 5 minutes later, a third man comes in and tells them that he caught the fish and leaves. Finally, a middle-aged man walks in somberly and sits down. George then tried something and asked the strange if he could tell them how he caught the huge trout. The stranger is surprised and gladly them the story. He also leaves. The landowner then comes in. Now the narrator and John tell him all the various funny histories that they have learnt and ask him who actually caught the fish. He tells them that he did and then leaves. George, giving in to his curiosity, climbs up to get a closer look. He'll slip and knock the cloth to the ground. George gets up and sees that the fish has shattered in 1,000 pieces. It was made up of plaster of Paris. Now we move to the lesson. A fishy story. This is an extract from Jerome K. Jerome's humorous book, Three Men in a Boat. The narrator and his two friends, George and Harris, along with their dog, Montmorency, are on a boating holiday on the River Thames. One day, in a little village inn, in means hotel, they see a most remarkable fish in a glass case. Read on to find out more about the fish. We're staying 2 days at Studley. The neighborhood of Studley and Goring is a great fishing center. On the second evening, George and I and the dog went for a walk to Wallingford. Coming back was stopped at the little riverside inn. We went in and sat down. There was an old fellow there and we began chatting. He told us that it had been a fine day that day, and we told them that it had been a fine day the before, and then we all told each other that we thought it would be a fine day next day. After that, we told him that we were strangers in the neighborhood and that we were going away the next morning. Then there was a pause in the conversation and our eyes wandered round the room. They finally rested upon a dusty old glass case fixed high up on the wall and containing a trout, that means a large freshwater fish. It fascinated me, that trout, it was such a monstrous fish. Ha, said the old gentleman, following my eyes. Fine fellow that, isn't he? Quite uncommon, I murmured, and George asked how much his weighted. 18 pound 6 ounces. That means a little more than 8 kilograms, said our friends, rising and taking down its coat. Yes, he continued. It was 16 years old when I caught him just below the bridge with a minnow. That means a small fish used as bait to catch larger fish. You don't see many fish of that size now. Well, good night, gentlemen. And out he went and left us alone. We could not take our eyes off that fish after that. I really was a fine fish. We were still looking at it when the local carried Bottom, who had just stopped at inn, came to the door of the room, and he will also looked at the fish. Good sight trout that, said George, turning round to him. Ha, you may well say that, sir, replied the man, and then he added, maybe you weren't here, sir, when that fish was caught. No, we told him, we are strangers in the neighborhood. It was nearly 5 years ago that I caught that trout, said the carrier. Oh, was it you who caught it? Said I. Yes, sir, replied the fellow. I caught him one Friday afternoon, and the remarkable things about it is that I caught him with a fly. Well, you see, he weighed 26 pounds. Good night, gentlemen. Good night. 5 minutes afterwards, a third man came in and described how he had caught the trout early one morning, and then he left. And a middle-aged individual came in and sat down by the window. None of us spoke for a while. Then George turned to him and said, I beg your pardon, my friends and I would be much obliged if you would tell us how you caught that trout up there. We told you. I caught the trout, was the surprise question. We said that nobody has told us, but we felt that it was you who had caught it. Well, it's a most remarkable thing, answered the stranger, laughing. Because you are quite right. I did catch it. But imagine you are guessing it like that. Dear me, it's really a most remarkable thing. And then he told us how it has taken him half an hour to catch it, and how it had broken his rope. He said he had weighted it carefully when he reached home, and it was 34 pounds. When he was gone, the owner of the inn came in. We told him the various stories we had heard about his trout, and we all laughed. Imagine Jim Bates and Joe Muggles and Mr. Jones and old Billy Maunders all telling you that they had caught it. Ah ha ha ha. Well, that's good, said the honest old fellow. Then he told us the real history of the fish. It was the who had caught it years ago when he was a boy. When he had left the room, George and I again turned her gaze upon the fish. It really was a most astonishing truth. It excited George so much that he climbed up on the back of the chair and to get a better view of it. And then the chair slipped and George clutched wildly at the truth case to save himself. And down it came with a crash. George and the chair on top of it. You haven't injured the fish, have you? I cried it alarm, rushing up. I hope not, said George, rising, and looked out boat. But he had the truth lay shattered into 1,000 fragments. I say 1,000, and I did not count them. We found it very strange that a throat should break up into little pieces like that. But then we discovered why it did. The fish was made up of plaster of Paris. Okay, children, I hope you understood this lesson. Thank you, children. Have a nice day.